Got
Has
it.
anybody done video editing? Has anybody ever done video editing before? Yeah, a little. So if you've seen video editors,
Little bit.
this should look pretty familiar. And I say this all the time, half jokingly, half seriously. I've taught my mom how to do this and we still talk to each other. So I feel like anybody can do this. So we're using a software called WeVideo, which is wevideo.com. I think Denise is going to get you all logins. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Mhm.
So when you log into it, it will look something like this, but you won't actually, when you log into it now, it's going to look like this. But you're going to come here and you're going to switch to classic because this is just easier. So you're going to want to start a project by clicking projects. I have this written out so I can send this to you actually, Denise, the step by step, if that's helpful. And we'll also show you where you can find loads and loads of helpful support videos, how-to videos. You're going to come here and you're going to create a new project. You're going to name it your name, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, tutorial for the sake of this, because that's what I'm doing. You're going to choose personal because it means nobody else has access to your stuff. And sorry about the cat. You're going to hit that and then create video. So that's all the steps to get you to this, which if you've done video editing should look pretty familiar. This is where you'll see your video. This is where you're going to keep all your materials, which you can import by clicking there and a little window opens. And it should be pretty self-explanatory. You can browse and drop media in there. You can go directly from Google Drive, Facebook, those kind of things. And they import and they will end up in your library, which you'll see I've got lots and lots of stuff. So that's what it'll look like. And this is where you'll actually do your work down in this area. So I like to work in full screen. So I'm going to quickly do that because it looks neater and gets rid of all the debris. So I'm going to show you on a tutorial that Story Center has made, just because it's got all the right pieces that we need. We start with your voice, which I'll talk about a little briefly about recording your audio after, I think. But you'll do an audio edit and you'll import your voice recording. Sorry about the cat all of a sudden. She wants her voice heard. And you're just you edit to your voice. So we're gonna start with the voice. It's kind of the foundation of your story. And you're gonna see down here, you'll see there's text, video, audio. If I try to put it in text and video, which are the exact same things, doesn't matter what they're called, it won't go there. If I try to get it into audio, I get the green light and I can leave it and it is there. So it's really, you can't mess the software up, which is kind of nice about it. I'm going to zoom in a little so we can get a closer look at this. Didn't make it longer, just zoomed in so we can look at it bigger, like going from 100% to 150% in a Word doc. Didn't add words to your story, just made it bigger for you to look at, right? And play and pause is your space bar, just as your as the same as this. And again, if I put my cursor there, you can see it says play spacebar. So it tells you what the keyboard shortcuts are if you like them. So we're going to take a quick listen. This is not even, I think it's about 30 seconds play with. So let's have a listen.
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me. It's a curious photo because in most photos, I always imagine that people pose for the future. But in this time, this moment, this photograph, I feel like my mom is searching for her past. Across oceans and between cultures, I think back to who she was as a girl, a young woman, a doctor, a wife, and a mother.
Right, so that's our little story. You'll notice this little blue line, it's called playhead, kind of traveled across and we heard it. For anybody who's old enough to remember, it's like a record player needle that you put down and you listen to it, and I can drop it here and listen to that part, or I can like scratch it across and listen to, like, drag it across. You'll also notice it's kind of blue line is matching right there. So if there were images, we'd be seeing them also. So hopefully that makes sense to people. So the first thing she says is,
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me.
so we have that picture and it's called search. So I would just, same thing, just drag it and drop it, right? And there it is. So now I'm seeing and hearing the same thing.
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me.
Right?
It's a curious.
So I stopped seeing it because it's not under that blue line anymore. I want it to go to about here where she says as a girl.
Back to who she was as a girl.
So this little blob here is her saying as a girl, right?
The girl.
Right. So I want that picture to go that distance. All I do is put my cursor, make sure it's highlighted in purple so it's selected. If I put my cursor on the end, you'll notice it goes from a single arrow to a double arrow. And I just click it and drag it out till wherever I want it, right? So still images are fine, infinite. They can go as long as you want them to go on either end, right? I can drag it out on this end. I can drag it out on this end. Video, on the other hand, is finite. So if you video record 8 seconds, you got 8 seconds. You can use less, but you can't really use more in its natural state. You can play with the speed to make it longer, but the way you recorded it. So we usually recommend that you record more than you think you're going to need. Also, you'll notice everything is sort of landscape shape, right? Because it fits the screen as opposed to the way we now take. We used to always take pictures like this. Now we take them like this. So if you can remember, you can still use the portrait shape or the vertical shape. But if you can remember and you're going to take new stuff, just try to remember, do it horizontally because it'll fit the screen nicer. So my next thing is she's got
As a girl.
Girl. There's one called girl. So I'm going to pull it down here and just drop it right next to it. So now I've got this little edit.
Who she was as a girl.
Right.
A young woman.
So I want this to finish before she says young woman, right? And then there's one called young, which is this one. So this one is that sort of portrait shape.
A young woman. A doctor.
So I want it to end before she says doctor. There's one called doctor. I'm going to put it there. You can already guess. I'm going to make it end before the next bubble.
A wife.
Wife is our video. So you'll see because it's got a little timestamp in the corner. That's how you know it's a video. And it works the same way, other than you can't make it longer than it is. I can still make it shorter. And then she says
And a mother.
A mother. So mother is this one. And I'm going to throw it down there. That's basic editing. You just get things into order and you drag them big, like get them as long as you want. So I got this little sequence
I think
here.
back to who she was as a girl. A young woman. A doctor. A wife. And a mother.
So that's it. This automatically saves, so you don't have to worry too much about it. It says all changes are saved up here. A couple other little things. It's called nonlinear editing, so you don't have to work in order. I could have put like, I can take that away, but just by hitting delete. And I could have been like, I know I want this picture here, and I don't know what I want here yet. So I'm going to keep moving on until I figure out what I want. And then I can come back later and I can be like, oh, I found this picture. I'm going to put that in here. So you don't have to worry about working in order. The other best friend of yours is the undo button. Undo, 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 and it's back, right? The undo and the redo button. So don't be afraid to try things because you can undo, 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 redo, redo, redo. So as far as I know, you can go back quite a long way. How much time have I got, Denise? How am I doing?
We're at 8:48.
What do I have till 2 more minutes?
Yeah, you have at least yeah, you
Okay,
can have 5 more
really,
minutes.
really
You can have
quickly.
5 more minutes because you can also
Okay.
talk about the recording.
Okay, got it. Okay, so this is like the fastest I've ever taught this. So there's a couple things that you can do beyond just a straight cut kind of thing. So if I double click an image, it will open up this sort of clip editor, and there's a whole bunch of things you can do down the side. So transform is like reframing it, right? So if I hit fit, this picture is old. It's like older than this shape. Most pictures you take now will fit, but this one doesn't. So if I hit fill, it will take up the whole screen. But if I have fit, you can see this like little railing at the bottom, which you can't see if I do that, which kind of makes it feel like she's on a boat. So if I want to keep that, I can just lift this up, right? So I can I can move this anywhere, but you want to kind of try and avoid the black spaces around as much as possible. I mean, I could just completely get rid of all of that and I could just reframe it so her face is there, right? Like whatever I decide to do, that's now what it's going to look like, right? I'm just going to I'm going to reset that and give us the little railing there because this is what I actually want it to look like. So it looks like she's on a ship. Double click. The next one's crop. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I could crop it if I wanted to change the picture. But the most that you're going to use is the transform, which is the reframing, or the animation, which is adding motion. And so there's sort of two steps to add motion. When it starts, when we first see this picture on the screen, this is kind of what I want you to see, right? So the first time this picture pops in the screen, this is what I want you to see. This picture is up for like 26 seconds or something. It's a very long time to look at this, not doing anything. So if I hit end, after those 26 seconds, I want it to look like, I'm going to use my zoomer, and then I can use this to move her over. Oh, I don't really want to cut that off. Anyways, you can reframe it. Again, try to keep in mind not to have black space around the edges because it looks weird. And that's it. So my start position was this. My end position is this. I can preview it here. My computer's going to do it for me.
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me.
Right, so it moves nice and
curious.
slow. I could go the other way. I could reset this. I could say like, I want to start like this. You don't have to move from the beginning or end. You can move anywhere in the picture that you want. And I could hit end and put it like that. And now it's going to go this way.
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with
Right.
me.
So if I'm happy with that, I can hit done. Now that moves nice and slowly, which is kind of what you want. And the speed is dependent on how much time you're giving it to get from the start position to the end position, from point A to point B. So if I took those same start and end positions, but I made this like, you know, a second or something, it would go like this.
There's a picture of,
like, that's way too fast. So you want to just keep in mind that you want something up for a good amount of time if you're going to add a lot of motion to it. You don't have to, right? Like you could have something like this, and let's go with animate, start position, end position, and just enough, just a little bit, so it has a bit of like dynamic kind ofness to it.
she was as a girl.
Right, so it's just a little bit of motion.
A young woman.
So those are just some options that you can do. The last quick thing I want to talk about is transitions and compositing, which is how you move from image to image. Right now, it's what we call a straight cut or a hard cut.
She was as a girl.
Like bang, right?
A young woman. A doctor.
I feel a bit harsh, a bit like shocking almost. It's not soft. So there's a couple things, transitions. You can click these little pluses here on every other one, and it adds these little boxes are transitions. This is the template way.
Back to who she was as a girl.
So it softens that motion between them.
A young woman.
Right.
A doctor. A wife.
Right. So that's one way you can do it. The other way, undo, is that I could do them manually, which is generally how I like to do it, because then you get a lot more control. And to do that, you've got to come to this little drop down, audio and opacity, and choose show opacity. And then I get this green line. That green line represents how much the opacity is, how much light is being let through in your image, which you can then change. This is where your next layer, don't worry, it's called text. You can call it anything you want. I'm just going to layer these now. I'm going to zoom in a little bit with my zoomer so you can get a little bit better idea of this. And if I put a dot, these are called keyframes, and all I have to do is click anywhere on that green line and then bring this to 0. So 0 to 100, plateau at 100 for a bit, and then come back to 0. You want kind of a trapezoid shape. You don't need a whole bunch of other dots. And here where it's 0 means no light is coming through. So as you can see, all I see is the picture underneath. And as I travel up this little slope, I'm starting to see the top one sort of take over and change places, right? Does that make sense?
Who she
and
was.
the beauty of this is that I could, now we're going to ignore what she's saying. Oops. The beauty of this is that I can have full control. I can take this and do anything as long as I want, right? With the templates, you only get a half from one, half from the
Across
other.
oceans
So
and
it's a
between
nice, long,
cultures.
slow
I
dissolve,
think
which
back
is what
to
a lot
who
of
she
these stories
was as a
use,
girl.
right?
A young woman.
Does that make, hopefully that makes sense to people. I know this is very fast. By the same kind of token, you can kind of, here, 61, let's just, you can do what we call compositing, where you're starting to layer things. So when it's got nothing underneath, you want it to go to 100%. But if you want to see through it,
This photograph,
both of them at the
I
same time
feel
are
like my
there,
mom
right?
is searching for her past.
Because I can see
I
through the upper
cross
one,
oceans.
right? And then you can play with it like, oh, maybe I want to actually see through it more.
This photograph, I feel like my
So you
mom
can
is
play around
searching
with
for
those
her
kind of
past.
things. And you can layer, you can keep adding tracks, right? So video, 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 visuals are up, audio, anything you can see is on the top, everything you can hear is on the bottom. And I could start adding like, I mean, now I'm making a mess of this, but I could start adding a whole bunch of layers to things. And you can have video as well. It doesn't matter. Video and audio and stills work the same way. So now I've got this like weird mess of stuff here.
This photograph,
Sorry about the mess.
I feel like my mom
Like
is
all
searching
things
for
are happening
her
at the same
past.
time. But you could see where you could add like ocean water here instead, right? Am I showing them this stuff, Denise? Doc? Are we using?
Yeah, we asked everybody to stay an additional 5.
Okay, perfect.
We asked people to stay 5 more
So
minutes.
there's like stock media in here. Just keep in mind stock media looks like stock media. The more that you can create that's yours, the better. But occasionally, especially people, don't use people. But there's video, images, audio. Audio is not bad. You can find some decent music. But I could have gone like and searched ocean in here and found the ocean water and played it down here. I have to turn these off and on, which is kind of frustrating. So again, I'm taking my, I just want like a hint of water. So let's go with 27 using these. And we'll just fade it out down here. So now I've got this whole, oops.
It's a curious photo because in most photos,
Now I can
I
see
always
her in the
imagine
ocean,
that people
right?
pose for the future.
I might actually, if it was going to be really picky, I would get rid of the horizon in the background and just have the water.
But in this time, this moment,
right? So you can start, you can see how you could start layering things and changing the meaning and adding that depth, video and put stills and moving and all that stuff. And you could, you know, come up with quite a complex piece, but also less is more, so don't worry. But just be mindful that like you're not finding some people are like terrible. Like I had a young man in one of my workshops who was from China, and he made a story about his grandmother, and he went here and he searched old lady and he found this lady, and it was just didn't look like anybody he's ever met, right? Like it just looks so lit, so perfect, made up. Like she's too shiny and slick. Also, he was from China, and it was like, I don't want to make any assumptions, but I'm pretty sure that's not your grandmother. So he's like, well, the only thing I have is this like ratty old photo that's kind of broken at the edges and blurry. And he put it in, and it was just like added so much meaning and feeling to his story. It was so much nicer. So I would suggest staying away from people where possible. But there's good for textures and like nature stuff. But again, a lot of it tends to look slick and like over perfect. So just keep it in mind, but it's there if you want to use it. So it's a nice thing to have. What am I missing? Titles. If you want text or titles, again, we recommend you just use this first one, and it just, you drag it down and drop it there. Default's 8 seconds, which is a bit long to read a couple words, and double click. This one's called Mom, not Mom. Oops, Mom. I can't spell. You can change the font. I don't know why you'd want that font. But anyways, you can change the color, you can change the size. It's kind of like, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can change like the color. I could even change like part of it if I wanted to. So once you're happy with it, I can move it, right? Like it's in a little box, so I can put it there. Maybe I want it off to the side or something. So that's nice. Not, but and it's you don't have to put it in text one. You can put it just because it's called text, doesn't matter. Again, all visuals, you can change the name if you really want by clicking on there. I just want to show you it's see-through, right? So it's not black, it's actually see-through. So you can put pictures under it, you can play with that. You can add your little transitions here if you want to like fade in and out from it. So fade up, title, fade down. And now my story starts. I might actually want to fade up for that first image so it's not so jarring. Right?
There's a picture.
And then lastly, I will show you quickly how to add audio. I have to go back to my media, shared. Like the fastest thing I've ever done. There's something called guitar here, so I'm just gonna drop it in here. So you'll see.
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me.
Audio, if I want to come here, show audio levels, I get this blue line, which is the similar to the green line. It's the volume, and I can again put dots on it and bring the volume down, right? You probably want to go pretty low. If you get any music from and don't forget to go on the other side, because otherwise it's going to get gradually louder. If you get things from the VIII video library, you want to go start around 10 because it's really recorded loudly. So you want to start there and then play around, because more than anything, we need to hear your voice. If you can't hear your voice, can't hear your story, you know, keep that in mind. So it brings it down, right?
There's a picture of my mother that I always keep with me.
I also recommend listening with your headphones on, your headphones off, see it different, and you want to find the sweet spot, because again, you really want to hear your voice. So that is like the crash course in video editing. I just
totally
want
scared me, Rainey.
Sorry?
I'm totally intimidated.
Listen, don't be afraid of it, because you can undo, right? This is called non-destructive editing. If you like cut something and you want to fix it, it's still there, right? Like it's always still in there. Like I could cut this music. Where's the split thing? And delete this and go, oh no, what did I do? I could either undo it or it's magically still there. So nothing goes away. And whatever you mess with here, your original is still here. So you can be like, oh, I did so many things to this picture. I can't even begin to think about it. I could delete it and then go, I'm just going to start again. Yeah. Right.
So the biggest thing really is to build your library, right?
Yeah. Start importing stuff. I mean, use some of the stock media stuff. Don't be afraid. You can undo. You don't have to work in order. You can also make like a decent, what we call rough cut, just a basic thing, and then make a copy, right? So you got one good one that then you can open it up and mess up one, but you still got your good one to go back. It's like a different draft, right? So you can, you save drafts. You never throw away that first one in case you want to go back to something you did in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You want to talk
also
about, oh,
sorry.
Well, Randy, we're at 9:02.
Okay.
So can you just talk about recording your voice?
Yeah, I just really quickly want to show you.
Good.
Why can't I do this? There's this little question mark here. If you hit that, there's all kinds of help videos in here that show you how to do all this stuff in like 2 seconds or less, especially the help videos. And there's more somewhere, so you can just open up those and lots of help. So hopefully that helps. Recording. And again, I can send you a little tip sheet on recording, but you want to use your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's something called voice memo or voice, what's it called on an iPhone? Voice memos. It's like that red and black one. If you have an Android, I think there's something called simple voice, something, simple voice, basic voice recorder, simple voice recorder, something like that. They either come on your phone, mine's in a utilities folder, or you can download them for free. You want to, they look like, most of them look the same. There's a record button, you hit record, put it under your chin and talk over it, okay? Talk in your normal voice or put it on something. I like to put it on, like I have a cup here, I can just put it down and talk so I'm not moving it around. Record a few seconds of nothing, like 5 to 10 seconds of like just silence, and then start reading your story. Read it slowly and clearly and pause. And then when you get to the end, just before you hit stop, record another 5 to 10 seconds of silence, because you might want to cut pauses in. We recommend that you go right through. If you make a mistake, just give a beat. Don't keep recording, take a beat, and then say the sentence again. So you're doing the whole thing. Because it's digital, you can go back and you can cut out the mistakes later. Then you will edit it, import it in, and you'll get going with your edit. And I will send you Denise all kinds of resources for all of these things, because I know that was the fastest. Like usually I take 2 hours to teach this, so that was a bit bonkers, but yay.
Yay, thank you. But only you could teach it that quickly. You covered a lot of ground that I would not have
I
covered.
just taught it all day today, so kind of crazy that I
Yeah,
did
you
this in
did a
15
good job.
minutes.
Thank you, thank you.
Sorry.
So, a couple of things. So lots to think about. I put a Google Doc into the chat. It's a roster. If you can take a few seconds to fill that out, it's just asking for your name, if you know what project you're going to work on, but most importantly, phone numbers and email addresses. And we also have them through Freefall. Because we're such a small, intimate group and everyone is very engaged, we are going to, I'm going to send information on Monday with these slides, with additional resources that we didn't even have time to cover, places where you can utilize free use music if you want to utilize music. If you ever want to show your video anywhere, my strong suggestion is that you utilize free use music. Danielle, you have a question?
Yes, just two things. One, the doc that's in the chat, when you open it up on your phone, it comes up a little weird. Is there any way, like, do you need that filled out right now?
I don't need it filled
Or
out
can
right
I do it
now,
later on?
but you can do it later.
Okay.
Right. You can do it later. If you can do it by Friday at the latest, because I need to add I need your email addresses for WeVideo registration. So if you can have it done by
Okay.
Friday at 5, that would be
Also,
perfect.
okay, and the other question I had was for Ronnie. Thank you,
Yes.
by the way, for your video presentation. That was very well done, especially because it was so quick. Does it translate to the phone app? Well, like, are we able to use them both interchangeably?
So the phone app is really limited. I think you can only do really basic stuff and some template kind of stuff. What's handy about the phone app is that your because this is cloud-based, your accounts are connected, so you can actually upload your images directly from your phone into the phone app. But the editing is going to be pretty simplistic. You can do something fine on it, but it's just going to be, you're not going to have as much control. And I don't think you get the library of stock media and all that stuff in there. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I don't
thank
actually,
you.
the only thing I ever use it for is to upload media. So if you upload the media into the app and then you log into the one on your computer, it will all be there. But
Okay.
it's very limited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we will be sending you resources, information about the Story Center. So if you're interested in learning more about digital storytelling and you want to take like a 6-week workshop, we covered about 4 weeks today. You can do that as well. And then what I was saying about the roster, I would like, since we're a small group, and this includes you, Carla, I would like to find time before our next session, once you have identified your story, what you want to work on, and you have some images and you've played around a bit, for us to book one-on-one time, about 30 minutes. So it's most effective when you've done a little bit of work, and then we can look at your story. I can look at it through WeVideo, and we can discuss dilemmas, issues, what have you. And I can text Randy, like, I can't figure out how they want to do X, Y, and Z. But the first thing you have to do, and you're all writers, is to write. That'll be the first thing. And as you write, I would suggest that you keep notes of the visual images that come to mind, of maybe the smells, the environment that you're in. All of that is very critical, and we are going over, so I am going to stop. My email address is going to be in the slides, which you will get on Monday, but I'm going to put it right here. This is This is my personal work email. Is there such a thing? So you all can copy that. If you have any questions, I'm checking it a lot right now. I don't always check it as much as I am right now. So please reach out to me. And because our goal is to get you to a place where you have a story that you feel good about.
And can I say this is a value added piece right here? When I first talked to Denise, this was not part of the conversation. She's a very busy, very talented person. So the fact that she wants to spend 30 minutes one-on-one with you is a huge deal. And it seems like everybody on this call has a story to tell. So I would take advantage of it. This is not something that's offered every day. So this is a huge deal. And I thank you, Denise and Rainey, for it.
Okay. So thank you for indulging us 10 additional minutes. I know it's getting late. I would like us to close out. So if you can share no more than 3 words about, feedback for the workshop. And I am going to start with Tiffany. Tiffany, are you there? Okay, I'm gonna go to Danielle.
I'm here. I'm here. I just couldn't press the button.
Okay.
You said 3 words.
No more than 3 words. Yeah.
Oh, I'm inspired, equipped, and connection.
Great. Thank you. Danielle.
I'd say unique, wow, and inspirational.
Laurie.
Affecting, warm, connected.
Great. Thank you. JCMC.
Filled with gratitude.
Very good. A sentence. Carla.
Okay, my thing is fascinated, bar raising, and ready.
Excellent. And Rani.
Oh, I wasn't prepared. Excited, overwhelmed, and pooped.
And pooped. And for me, grateful, inspired, grateful. Thank you all. I will be in touch with you no later than Friday. Please, if you have any problems with the Google Doc, you shouldn't. Let me know, but let's stay in touch. I have your information, and I hope we're on this journey together, and I will be talking with you very soon. Thank you so much for coming.
But before we close out, I do have to say this. This is part 1 of the CityLit studio. Part 2 will take place at the Lyric in person. So the hope is you keep this journey with Denise, you contact her, you work on your things, and then we'll meet at the Lyric on October 24th. That's a Tuesday, in person at the Lyric from 7 to 9. Now, just so you know, it will also include the National Book Award finalist, Rio Cortez, who is a poet. And she's going to add to this conversation because her piece is on mining a personal archive, like digging out your photos, your one-time events like tickets or posters to really kind of add to the storytelling that Denise is talking about. We will send you, and this is part of it too, CityLit will send you an email with all the things, the resources that Denise is talking about will be in that package. So you have one place to go for it. But thank you for your attention tonight. Thank you for showing up. I can't wait to see you in person. Can't wait to see your stuff. And I'm on this journey with you. It's intimidating, Denise and Rainey. But we're going to do this, right?
Yes.
I appreciate everybody on this call.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it was, I love small groups, so this was wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And adults.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have joined.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
more to come.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Denise, I think you have to change the permissions on the Google Doc, somebody said.
It's still not working? can't do
You just
none
have
of
to
that,
change
right?
the like edit to like make the link for everybody. Like
That's what I thought I did. Let me go look at it right
Yeah,
now.
or
because
you
she
can
said
stop
it was.
recording though.
Well, it's funny because Danielle said it's view only, but I got into it immediately,
Oh, let me try.
so I'm not really sure.
Denise,
Either
you'll want
way-
to stop recording?
Yeah, let's stop recording.
Hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah, I got into it actually.